I mean, the Golden State Valkyries didn't just beat the Las Vegas Aces, they kicked their whole ass. 68-95. The Las Vegas Aces can only score 68 points with the squad that they have. What is going on in Las Vegas right now?
The Las Vegas Aces, the team that was supposed to three-peat as champions, just got demolished by 27 points against the Golden State Valkyries. 27 points. Meanwhile, their former star Kelsey Plum is averaging 25.2 points per game with the Los Angeles Sparks and probably laughing all the way to the bank.
All right, I got to give a shout out to Golden State Valkyries because boy, did they put an ass whooping on Vegas. Boy. And I'm not talking about some 15-point win. No, this is a 4-quarter, 27-point spanking in front of a sold-out crowd in Golden State. Vibes was immaculate. Love to see it.
But here's the kicker. While everyone's still crowning A'ja Wilson as the untouchable queen of basketball, the Aces are falling apart faster than a house of cards, and it's becoming crystal clear that maybe, just maybe, Kelsey Plum was the glue holding this dynasty together.
On paper, they should be kicking everybody's ass. Literally everybody. Like, A'ja Wilson put the entire Aces on her back and is doing everything she can to help her team, and it's just not going anywhere.
The numbers don't lie, even when the narrative tries to cover them up. The Aces just suffered their worst loss since 2023, getting absolutely embarrassed 95-68 by an expansion team that's supposed to be learning how to walk, not running championship contenders out of the gym. But let's talk about what this really means, because this isn't just a bad game. This is a complete system failure that started the moment Kelsey Plum walked out that door.
Lost a lot, okay? And so I was like, yeah, we gotta wait. Give them time. But we didn't set up here and lost by damn near 30 to an expansion team. Come on now.
Remember when the Aces traded Kelsey Plum to the Sparks in that blockbuster 3-team deal? Everyone acted like it was just business as usual, like they were trading away some role player instead of a 3-time All-Star who helped deliver back-to-back championships. A'ja Wilson even had the audacity to say, "It is what it is," and talk about how it's just business. Well, guess what? Business is about winning games, and right now, the Aces are failing miserably at their core.
But our interest in the Valkyries, whatever you want to say, like, if anything, even if it's just a passing interest, there are people that are interested in the Valkyries. And they destroyed the Aces. I mean this when I say this. The Aces, I've never seen the Aces look this bad before. And the Valkyries are for real. They're 3-5 on the season, but they play so hard. And I don't mean they're for real in the fact like they can compete, because they can't compete.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. Here's what really happened. The Aces got comfortable. They thought they could just plug in Jewell Loyd and everything would be the same. They thought A'ja Wilson's individual brilliance was enough to carry them through. They were wrong. Dead wrong. Plum wasn't just putting up numbers, she was the heartbeat of that team. Wilson herself admitted it. Plum was the hard-nosed player that did all of everything in the moment. Whenever the Aces needed her, in the locker room, she was always someone that spoke her mind. That's not the description of a replaceable player, that's the description of a cornerstone.
Plum led the team with 28 points, 6 3-pointers, and 8 assists. She has been on a tear to start the season. I'm low-key surprised she has been mentioned in MVP talks. Granted, Nafisa Collier is my pick to win MVP, but I definitely think Kelsey Plum should get some love in that conversation.
Let's examine this recent disaster against the Valkyries. A'ja Wilson, the supposed superstar, managed only 17 points on 5 of 13 shooting. Jackie Young was held to 8 points on 1 of 6 from the field. Jewell Loyd, the player they got in exchange for Plum, scored a pathetic 6 points on 1 of 8 shooting. This is what championship DNA looks like? This is what a dynasty produces? Coach Becky Hammon was so disgusted with her team's effort that she called them out publicly. I'm not going to coach effort. It's the one thing I can't deal with. You're in charge of your effort. When your coach has to question your team's heart and effort, that's not a talent problem. That's a culture problem. And guess who was a major part of that winning culture? The player they traded away.
points. And I think that's the first time in your tenure in Las Vegas. Has there been a common denominator, a similarity between those games? The one was in Seattle, I believe.
Yeah. Following people around defensively, being really soft mentally, just letting people come out and punk us, hit us, grab us, and us whining instead of buckling down and saying, like, okay, that's what's going to be, then let's go. And I told them in there, I said, we have effort has to come from your heart. The schemes, the discipline, the habits, that's your head. And right now, we not only have a heart issue, but it's letting us affect our head issue. But I'm not going to coach effort. It's just one thing I can't deal with. You're in charge of your effort. I guess I'm in charge of your playing time, so that's the one way I can affect it. But I've never been a coach to pull for mistakes, but I will pull for effort.
Becky, I'm Morris Phillips, Sports Radio Service. You talked about missed shots offensively. They packed the paint. You didn't make them pay by hitting.
The Aces fell behind by 21 points at halftime and never recovered. They gave up 95 points to a team that's still figuring out how to be a professional basketball organization. The 27-point loss was their worst since a 38-point beating by the Liberty in August 2023. But here's what makes it even more embarrassing. That 2023 loss came when A'ja Wilson was held to just 9 points. At least then there was an excuse. This time, Wilson had 17 points and they still got obliterated. While the Aces are having heart issues and getting blown out by expansion teams, Kelsey Plum is absolutely cooking with the Sparks. In her very first game in a Sparks uniform, she dropped 37 points, a WNBA record for most points in a season opener. 37 points. She shot 11 of 19 from the field and was perfect from the free throw line.
I'm sure Kelsey Plum won't never come out loud and sit here and say she happy to be the number one dog, not be able to drive her own car at her own speed. But you could tell in her body language that she was absolutely happy to be able to do what she want out on the floor and just really get to her spots, really run her team the way she want to. And she showed you she can be a lead dog. 37 points for your first debut as a LA Spark, man. Hats off to Kelsey Plum.
But it wasn't just the scoring. Plum became the first player in WNBA history to record at least 35 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals in a single game. That's not just having a good game, that's making history while your former team is busy making excuses. And the best part? She did it against the Valkyries, the same team that just demolished the Aces. The same Valkyries that made Hammon question her team's effort and heart. Plum showed up and showed out, proving that when you change environments, sometimes you discover just how much you were being held back. The Sparks hoped Plum would help revive their stagnant offense, and she's delivered beyond their wildest dreams. She's averaging 25.2 points and 5.5 assists per game while shooting 43.4% from three-point range. Those aren't just solid numbers. Those are MVP caliber numbers from a player who was supposedly just a complimentary piece in Las Vegas.
And while Kelsey's success hasn't yet translated into overall success for the LA Sparks, not seeing as many wins as we'd assume with the amount of stats that she's putting up, I mean, she is exactly what the Sparks needed. She's able to read the floor, make plays, also being a very consistent offensive force, and just, I mean, she's Kelsey Plum. And so after ESPN's article came out, the conversation around MVP and Kelsey Plum have been sort of happening at the same time. With a lot of people saying that while it may be way too early, Kelsey Plum is currently leading that race.
Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to discuss. A'ja Wilson has been exposed. For years, she's been getting credit for championships that Kelsey Plum was equally responsible for delivering. Now that she's truly the number one option with all the pressure squarely on her shoulders, the cracks are showing. Wilson has been held under 20 points 4 times in the Aces' last 5 games. That's already more than the 3 times she was held under 20 points during the entire 2024 regular season. When you're supposedly the best player in the league, you don't get to disappear when your team needs you most. The eye test is even worse than the numbers. When you watch Wilson play now, you see someone pressing, someone trying to do too much because she knows the supporting cast isn't championship caliber. She's putting up decent individual numbers, but her team is 4-3 and coming off humiliating losses. That's not leadership. That's stat padding on a sinking ship. Remember when Wilson said about the team dynamics? It wasn't a championship locker room. I mean, out the gate, going into training camp, I was like, we ain't got it. Well, whose job is it to create that championship culture? If you're the face of the franchise, the 3-time MVP, and the supposed leader, then the buck stops with you.
Had, our rookie from last year, okay, Kate Martin, the Iowa girl, you know what I'm talking about, who rolled in this thing with Caitlin, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, when she was coming on our bench last year, she was the Valkyrie, okay? And she had more boards with 7 than the best player in the world had with 6, okay? Also, Kate Martin, to make it even worse, had more points by her damn self than Jackie Young and Jewel Lloyd put together. Kate had 12. Them girls together had 9. The hell is going on? What's going on?
The basketball gods have a sense of humor, because guess what's coming up? The Aces host the Sparks on June 11th. That's right, Kelsey Plum is coming back to Las Vegas as an opponent for the first time since the trade. The Aces already gave her a tribute video when she returned earlier this season, complete with standing ovations and hugs from former teammates. How sweet. But here's what makes this even more delicious. Plum isn't just returning as a former teammate getting a nice send-off, she's returning as the leader of a team that's playing better basketball than the Dynasty she left behind. She's averaging more points than A'ja Wilson. She's leading her team more effectively than Wilson is leading hers. And she's doing it all while proving that maybe, just maybe, she was the real engine behind those championship runs. When asked about adjusting to Los Angeles, Plum joked that DoorDash is a lot more that's the kind of relaxed, confident attitude of someone who knows they made the right decision. Meanwhile, Wilson is dealing with coaches questioning effort and teams getting blown out by expansion franchises.
Yeah, when she played with the Wings and even when she played with the Sparks, like, she is one of them bully ball. Ooh, like she just plays so strong, so aggressive on the defensive end, on the offensive end, making those dives for the loose ball, like just using her body to its fullest capacity. But I do love the way that Kelsey Plum helped spread the floor, because Derrick Henry really didn't have to go in the paint and really do a bunch of even though she did get a double-double, but she didn't have to do crazy Mama D type of banging. And because like last year to get the Sparks to win games, Mama D was down that thing putting in the work. She had to put on her hard hat and had to put in a lot of work.
Let's zoom out and look at what's really happening here. The Las Vegas Aces won back-to-back championships in 2022 and 2023, and everyone assumed they were building a dynasty. They assumed A'ja Wilson was the irreplaceable centerpiece and everyone else was just along for the ride. They were wrong. Dynasties aren't built on individual talent alone. They're built on chemistry, culture, and complementary pieces that fit perfectly together. The Aces had that with Plum in the lineup. They had a player who could score when Wilson was in foul trouble, who could facilitate when the offense got stagnant, and who brought the kind of competitive fire that championship teams require. Now they're trying to replace that with Jewel Lloyd, who's averaging 6 points per game and shooting 12.5% from the field through 7 games. That's not an upgrade. That's a catastrophic downgrade that's exposing just how important Plum really was. The 2024 playoffs should have been a warning sign. The Aces were eliminated in the semifinals by the Liberty, ending their three-peat dreams before they even got to the finals. But instead of recognizing that their championship window was closing, they doubled down on the wrong player and let the right one walk away.
Season, with Kelsey Plum being one of them. She now plays for the LA Sparks, after playing 6 seasons with the Las Vegas Aces. And while it's super early into the season, I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, Kelsey Plum has been thriving in LA. She's currently averaging 25.2 points per game, currently the second highest in the league, followed only by Napheesa Collier. She also has a career best 5.5 assists per game. And while Kelsey's success hasn't yet translated into overall success for the LA Sparks, not seeing as many wins as we'd assume with the amount of stats that she's putting up, I mean, she is exactly what the Sparks needed. She's able to read the floor, make plays, also being a very consistent offensive force, and just, I mean, she's Kelsey Plum. And so after ESPN's article came out, the conversation around MVP and Kelsey Plum have been sort of happening at the same time, with a lot of people saying that while it may be way too early, Kelsey Plum is currently...
Here's something that should terrify Aces fans. The people whose job it is to predict basketball outcomes have already moved on from A'ja Wilson. When you look at MVP odds and championship futures, the smart money isn't flowing toward Las Vegas anymore. They're betting on teams with better chemistry, better coaching, and better complementary pieces. Plum understood this better than anyone. She knew that individual accolades mean nothing without team success. She knew that being the second option on a championship team was better than being the first option on a pretender. But the Aces didn't understand that, and now they're paying the price. The Las Vegas Aces made a catastrophic mistake. They let ego and individual narratives cloud their judgment about what actually wins basketball games. They prioritized keeping their superstar happy over maintaining the championship culture that made them special in the first place. Kelsey Plum isn't just thriving with the Sparks. She's proving that she was the secret ingredient all along. While A'ja Wilson struggles with the pressure of being the undisputed #1 option, Plum is out here breaking records and making history with a new team. The 27-point loss to the Valkyries isn't just a bad game, it's a referendum on everything the Aces thought they knew about building a winning team. When an expansion franchise can come into your building and embarrass you like that, it's time to admit that maybe you weren't as good as you thought you were.
But, like, we're seeing A'ja Wilson getting Ronda Rousey. The Ronda Rousey comparisons. Not the Ronda Rousey. Like, this might be, in my opinion, the most disrespectful thing anyone's ever said about A'ja Wilson. She reminds me of Ronda Rousey. Put two H's in Ronda Rousey for no reason. But when the competition wasn't that great, she looked like a megastar. But now with these new players up and coming and the quality of WNBA, she's looking very mediocre. And I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, A'ja Wilson might have had a decent game. Like 5 of 13 from the field.
So, yeah, Kelsey Plum is probably laughing, not because she's petty or vindictive, but because she knew this day would come. She knew that individual talent without the right supporting cast is just empty calories. She knew that dynasties are about more than one player, no matter how many MVP trophies they have. The Aces thought they were trading away a role player. Instead, they traded away their soul. And now the whole league is watching them crumble in real time, one embarrassing loss at a time. The question isn't whether Kelsey Plum is better off with the Sparks. The numbers answer that clearly. The question is whether the Aces will swallow their pride and admit they made the biggest mistake in franchise history. Based on their recent performance, that admission might be coming sooner than anyone expected. Because at the end of the day, championships aren't won by individuals. They're won by teams. And right now, only one of these former teammates understands that fundamental truth.